Never pray when there is a thunderstorm. The person that's telling this story says that that is a saying that their grandmother always told them, and she never explained why. But they also say that she was a very religious woman. They say that every time she would say it to them, it almost felt like a warning, and they didn't know why until they figured it out themselves. So some years had passed, and the grandmother had already passed away, and he said that him and his 5 other cousins were gonna go to her house. He said that they were all very young because at that point he was only 13 and the youngest cousin was around 9 years old. He says that it was the first time that all of their cousins had reunited since she had passed away. He said that when the grandmother passed away, all of their families left that town and they hadn't been back in a very long time. The reason why they were at their grandparents' house was because all of their parents had come back to help the church with some sort of festival. He points out that that was the reason why they had stayed in their grandmother's house alone, because they wanted to play and their parents were going to go and work at the church. He said that while they were playing outside, it started raining and then a big thunderstorm came, so they all ran into their grandmother's home. He said that their grandmother's house did not have light because it had been abandoned for like a few years, so they all gathered all the candles that they found and lit them up. He said that it was getting very late and one of his cousins started to pray because she would always pray at a certain time in the afternoon. They don't know why, but like the little 9-year-old cousin turned to the girl and said, "You're not supposed to pray in a thunderstorm," the same way that the grandmother used to always tell them. The girl that was praying started to giggle because she thought it was funny that he was saying what the grandmother used to say, so she said to him, "You're not grandma, you don't even know why she used to tell us that." The little 9-year-old responded to her and said, "Okay, go ahead and pray, but you never know who might be listening to you." Very ominous. Why would he say that? He said that their cousin continued praying and he went to go sit next to the window so he can be on the lookout to see when their parents were coming back. He said that in the moment he saw from afar like a figure that started walking in their direction. He said that it looked like a woman all dressed in black and that she was just all wet from the rain. He said that she was so far away that he couldn't really see her facial features. But in that moment, he told the rest of his cousins that there was somebody outside and she was coming from the forest. He said that all of the cousins ran to the window, even the one that was praying, and when they all ran to the window, the lady stopped walking and they were all able to see her. So the cousin that had been praying looked out the window and she did see that figure, but she was like, "That's not a woman, that's just a scarecrow." And she walked back and started praying again. He said that the rest of the cousins stayed there at the window with him looking out at whatever that thing was. But when the cousins started praying again, that's when the woman started walking towards their grandmother's house again. He said that their younger cousins started screaming when they saw that woman start walking and that they begged their other cousin to stop praying for a second. She stopped praying, and at that very moment, the woman that was outside stopped walking towards them. He told his cousin that was praying to come back to the window so that she could see that it wasn't a scarecrow, it was a woman. And when she did, he told her to pray. He was like, "Do not walk away. I need you to start praying and watch what happens. Dios te salve María, llena eres de gracia, Dios está contigo, bendita tú." The cousin that had been praying and watching that woman found out that the second she started praying, that woman started walking toward their grandmother's house. And in that moment, when she stopped saying that prayer, the woman stopped. They said that the rain started getting even worse and that at some point it was so bad that they lost vision of that woman. And of course, their cousin who had been praying the entire time shut the fuck up for the rest of the night. Okay, that's not the way he said it, but that's just my way of interpreting the story. He said that they didn't tell anything to their parents, or at least he didn't, so he didn't know if their cousins did. But the reason why he didn't was because he didn't want to like buy into the fear. Like he didn't want to raise concern to the parents or like anybody else. He also said luckily none of them actually lived there permanently. He said that it didn't even matter because the next day they were already back in their hometowns, in their permanent homes and away from their grandmother's house. He mentions that he doesn't know when he'll be back, but trust and believe that he will be alert every time there's a thunderstorm. So what do you guys think? Would you dare pray in the middle of a thunderstorm? Anyway, this video in no way, shape, or form am I asking you to believe in any certain religion. This is just a story, whether you decide to believe it or not, or test it out or not. So, you know, please know that. Also, I got this story from Relatos de la Noche. I'm gonna put the video here and the timestamp that it starts.